Welcome back to Financial Coaching Kingdom Men. I'm so glad that you're here again. And so let me ask you a question. If your car needed a $900 repair this week, would your family be okay? Or if the water heater went out, would you have a plan? If an unexpected medical bill showed up, would it become a manageable inconvenience or a financial crisis? For many families, one surprise expense is enough to put them right back on the credit card. And when that happens, the emergency is no longer just the car or the bill or the repair. Now the emergency becomes stress in the home, tension in the marriage, another payment that needs to get paid, and another reminder that the family is financially vulnerable. This is why an emergency fund matters, not because we are trying to live in fear, but we are trying to lead with wisdom. And let me tell you a little bit about myself this week. So my car brakes last week, I was noticing, they're sounding a little different. I know I got them checked not too long ago, and they're like, hey, they're wearing down. You may need to get these. So I'm like, okay, so let me schedule that. So let me get that scheduled to have them look at that. So, so a little bit more of an expense. And then so I got it scheduled. And then on the night before I was going to get my brakes repaired, I ended up going to the hospital and spent a couple days there. So those are a couple things that I'm really glad I've hopefully been preparing for. Gratefully, I have some money in the bank in that car repair fund. And we also, so good thing to have savings on that. Also gratefully have some medical insurance. So hopefully you too have medical insurance. And also have an emergency fund and medical savings accounts, an HSA myself, and all those things so that hopefully you have that protection so that when something like this happens, whether it is the car repair it's going to happen, or the job loss, which, well, that happened to me last year, or the medical bill that's new and expensive and wonderful. Hopefully you're preparing for that with insurance and all those things. But anyway, that's too much about me, but let's keep going. Welcome to Financial Coaching Kingdom Men, the podcast that helps you align your money with your purpose. I'm your host, John. We've all felt the weight of financial stress, the sleepless nights, the silent disagreements with our spouse, the feeling that we've just not in control. But what if there's a better way? What if managing your money was less about math and more about peace of mind? On this podcast, we'll explore a different kind of financial freedom. It's not just about what you earn or what you owe. It's about the emotional clarity that comes from being on the same page with your spouse, the spiritual strength you gain from worshiping God with your finances, and the deep satisfaction of knowing you're building a lasting legacy for your family. Every week, we'll cut through the noise to bring you simple, powerful truths that will help you move from financial chaos to confidence. If you're ready to find clarity, grow in unity, and live with purpose, you're in the right place. Let's get started. When there is no savings, every surprise expense creates pressure. A car repair becomes a credit card balance, an increase on the credit card balance. A medical bill becomes a new payment plan that you have to pay for. And a broken appliance becomes panic. How do you wash dishes? By hand. A job transition becomes fear, whether that transition is because you decided for it or somebody else helped to encourage you on that. And a missed paycheck becomes chaos. But when your family has an emergency fund, you have a financial buffer between your household and the next crisis. An emergency fund does not stop life from happening, because it is going to happen. Life is going to happen. It stops life from wrecking your family finances every time it happens. Some Christians feel tension around saving money because they wonder if saving means they're not trusting God. But biblical savings is not the opposite of faith. It can be an expression of wisdom. Remember Proverbs 27:12? The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. We know things are going to happen. We know that there's going to be a medical expense. We know that the car is going to need a repair. It's not for us to know when that's going to happen, but we can prepare for it. So trusting God does not mean ignoring responsibility. A farmer trusts God for the harvest, but he still has to plant seeds. I got my garden out in the back. I planted, I'm weeding, I'm watering, I'm doing all stuff, but I know that grows because God allows it to grow. A father trusts God for his family, but still locks the door at night. Got your alarm system on your door? A man trusts God with provision, but he still works, budgets, saves, and prepares. Faithful stewardship means managing what God has already placed in our hands. An emergency fund is not a monument of self-reliance. It's a tool of faithful stewardship. You're using the money that God has already blessed you with to prepare for what is going to happen. A strong emergency fund creates a family fortress around your home. Not a fortress built on fear, but a safeguard built on wisdom. A financial safeguard protects your peace. It protects your marriage. It protects your budget. It protects the debt payoff plan that you're working on. It protects your ability to give. It protects your ability to make calm decisions. It protects your children from unnecessary financial chaos. And it protects your family from being consistently interrupted by the past. If you are paying off debt and the car breaks down without an emergency fund, you either stop the debt plan or go back into debt. But if you have a starter emergency fund, you can handle the car repair and keep moving forward. A family protection fund gives your household the ability to respond instead of react. Now, when you hear an emergency fund, you always hear the numbers 3 to 6 months of expenses. And yes, that's true. I agree with that. But before you get to that 3 to 6 months, the first thing you want to do, you need to get to that first $1,000. Get to that first $1,000, then work those what you have as a plan for your budget, and then work on the 3 to 6 months as time goes on. But first, get that first $1,000, get that breathing room. It allows you to keep moving forward financially, whether that is paying off debt or whatever it is that you have agreed with your spouse to do. That first $1,000, that number is not the finish line, but it is a powerful starting line. Why $1,000 helps? It gives your family breathing room. It also covers common emergencies, a lot of those things that aren't above $1,000 amounts. It breaks the habit of reaching for the credit card. Again, this is a mental game, a lot of it, and so financial and mental. And so we're making that change of, hey, how do we get money? It creates a quick win. It's easier to get that $1,000, but it's also pretty tough to get the $1,000 depending on how you're feeling right now. And it builds confidence. Once you get that, you're going, you know what? Hey, we can do this. We can move forward with our finances and work together as a couple. It teaches the family that savings is possible. You don't have to spend every dollar once it comes in. Don't get discouraged because you can't fully fund 3 to 6 months right away. Start with the first layer of protection. Your first $1,000 emergency fund may not solve every crisis, but it will change how your family responds to the next one. Okay, now, once you have that money in the emergency fund, let's say that you have that $1,000 in there and it's just kind of looking at you and you're sitting there going, there's $1,000 just sitting there. Well, what counts as a real emergency? You need to define what an emergency is before the emergency happens. You need to work on that with as a couple, what it is. When do you actually spend that money? What's an emergency and what's not? If you do not define it ahead of time, emotions will define it for you. What real emergencies may include are things like a car repair that you need to get to work, or the essential transportation, or maybe it's a medical bill or a deductible that you need to pay off, or a job loss or income interruption. I have a friend who his wife has a position right now where he doesn't know if the check's going to bounce. So scary. And emergency home repair, those things that you need to fix, or essential appliance repair. Are all the appliances essential? Is the dishwasher essential or is it not? Good question. Or urgent family need. Is there something that's coming up? You're going to have to make that determination of what you determine as a couple, what's an emergency, or insurance deductible. Sometimes if you get into an accident or whatnot, you may need to hit that deductible. Or travel for a serious family crisis. It may be something that happened. Maybe there's somebody has passed in the family. Maybe that's an okay reason to use an emergency fund. You guys have to decide that. But what is not a real emergency? Well, easy things to pick off that are not real emergencies. Christmas. Christmas is not an emergency. We know it's happening every year. It tends to happen, yearly. And also vacations. Not an emergency, not a reason to use the emergency fund. Or eating out. That's not a good reason to use your emergency fund. Or a sale. Oh, if I buy this, I can save $500 or whatever it may be. Not a real emergency. Or a wanted upgrade. That new phone model is coming out. I need to get that. Or new furniture. Or a forgotten bill. So if you have a new forgotten bill, that doesn't become an emergency. That becomes part of the budget. We got to work on that. Or regular car maintenance. So like my brakes, if those are something that I have been planning for, that becomes great. That's in my sinking fund. I've been saving for that. But if it is like a major car repair that will all of a sudden it's not running, that's a major emergency. Annual insurance premiums. Not emergencies. Those are things that happen that we need to be budgeting for. You need to have those sinking funds for them. Or kids' activities that could have been planned for. So if your kids now have a new friend who has a new birthday, it's still not an emergency. You need to save that money for true emergencies. And it's not to say no to things, it's to prepare for things. It's to get ready for things. Many things feel urgent because they were not planned for, but that does not make them true emergencies. A predictable expense is not an emergency. It's a planning problem. Let's talk about sinking funds. Let's talk about coming together around your budget and figuring out those annual costs. But where do you find that first $1,000? Most families can build the first emergency fund faster when they are focused. Some practical ideas. Pause eating out for 30 days. No eating out. We are going to save every dollar. Let's get that $1,000 done. Cancel unused subscriptions. Hopefully you've been doing that. Hopefully that's something, but you can cancel those subscriptions that aren't being used. Or sell items sitting in the garage. Are there items that somebody else may like, but you aren't using anymore? Or use overtime or bonus money or commission income. On this month, we get 3 paychecks, which is always those, yay, 3 paycheck months. And so those are great times to actually make some space in the budget to use to save the emergency fund or make some plan on paying off a little bit more debt or something like that. But anyway, redirect those tax refunds. Did you get a tax refund? Well, you could use that to fund the emergency fund. Or cut grocery waste. There are times where we are throwing out a lot of food or delaying non-essential purchases. If it's something that you can live without, go for it. Try it. Get this emergency fund saved up. It's not forever. This is for a period of time. Use cash from side work. Go ahead, get an extra job or something. Just do something small. Temporarily pause extra debt payments until the starter fund is built. So only pay the minimums. Hopefully what you're doing anyway with your debt is, if your goal is to get everything paid off, is you're paying your minimums on everything except for one and be super focused on that one. Well, while you're building up this starter emergency fund, just pay the minimums on everything. And then that way you can focus and get that $1,000 saved quickly. This is a short-term focus push. It's not forever restriction. The goal is not to punish your family. The goal is to protect your family. It's for a short season. Intensity creates the margin. Now, where should you keep your emergency fund? But your emergency fund should be accessible, but not too accessible. Kind of want to hide it from yourself so that you're not sitting there going, I got money to spend. I don't know if that's you, but I do that. Best practices would be to keep it in a separate savings account, okay? You want to have it not with your checking account where you are paying off your bills all the time. It's not for investments. Don't put it in your investment account because this is insurance. It's not investment. And not in cash mixed with your other spending money. If you're seeing it, I got some extra money there, I can spend more. Nope. Or not in the same account as a vacation or Christmas or regular bills. So where you have your sinking funds, you're not wanting to put your emergency fund in those sinking funds. Put it in somewhere completely different, somewhere that you put it and you kind of set it and forget it, but you want to be able to access it. So make sure that you can get it. So why? If it's too easy to spend, it will disappear. Grows wings, flies away. If it's too hard to access, it may not help you when a real emergency comes. So if there's an emergency that happens and you need to make the payment tomorrow and it's going to take you a week to get access to that money, is that a good thing? Your emergency fund needs enough separation to protect it from impulse, but enough access to protect your family. So you use your emergency fund. Something happened. It came up. You've used it. And again, this does not mean failure. That is why it's there. The important part is having a refill plan. Some of the rules for refilling it: pause extra debt payoff temporarily. Again, make just those minimum payments. Get that saved up. Refill the emergency fund first and review what happened. Ask whether it was a true emergency or a predictable expense, and adjust the budget if needed. Do you need to make plans for that? Is it something like, we should have been planning for that, we just didn't think about it? And restart the debt payoff or savings plan once the fund is restored. Want to get back onto it. Get on track. If the same emergency keeps happening, you may need a savings bucket, not just an emergency fund. Car repairs, Christmas, birthdays, insurance premiums, school expenses should eventually have their own planned savings categories. When you use the emergency fund, do not feel guilty. Refill it and learn from it. Emergency savings do more than protect the numbers. They protect the peace at home as well. Because when you have no margin, financial surprises often turn into things like blame. How did you let that happen? Or stress. How are we going to pay this off? Or arguments. Has that ever caused you guys arguments? I know it has for us. Or fear, short tempers. Oh man, why did she do that? He's an idiot. Credit card debt or avoidance. We just don't open the bills anymore. Or shame. I can't talk about that. But when the money is already set aside, you can say, we don't love this, but we do have a plan. That sentence alone can change the atmosphere in your home. A funded emergency fund can lower the emotional temperature in your entire household. Okay, so if you haven't started your emergency fund, we're going to do a challenge. This week, open a separate savings account. Decide your starter emergency fund goal. Again, that's with your spouse. Define what counts as a true emergency and find the first $100. Schedule a money conversation with your wife and download the Family Protection Fund checklist that you can find on the website, financialcoachjohn.com. Do not wait until the next emergency to wish you had that started. For a family conversation script that you want to use, try this. Hey, I want us to build a more peace and stability financially. I do not want every surprise expense to become stress, debt, and another family fight. Can we work together to build our first emergency fund and agree on what counts as a real emergency? Your family does not just need income. They need protection. They need margin. They need calm leadership. They need a plan for the surprises that are going to come. Building an emergency fund is not glamorous. It isn't. It may not feel exciting. It's hard when if you aren't focusing on paying off a debt or something like that, where you can physically see that, hey, it's gone, but you can see that, hey, we built this up. But it is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward financial peace. And if you look at basically any of the personal finance gurus, all of them say it's important to have 3 to 6 months saved. So start with that first $1,000. Build the first layer of protection. Stop letting every surprise become a crisis, and lead your family with wisdom. To help you get started, I created the Family Protection Fund checklist. This checklist will help you build your first emergency fund, decide what counts as a real emergency, know where to keep the money, and create a refill plan after life happens. Download it at financialcoachjohn.com. That's financialcoachjohn.com. Or check the show notes. It's in there too. And build margin. Protect your household and lead with wisdom. If you found this episode helpful, please leave a 5-star review and share the podcast with somebody else who could benefit from it. And if you want help creating a clearer financial plan for your life and family, reach out at hello@financialcoachjohn.com or schedule a free call at financialcoachjohn, that's JON.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.